So this is the data that I will be using to create the horizontal stacked bar chart. Now this is really straightforward. Just highlight the data that you want to chart like this. Go to Insert, Bar, Stacked Bar, and voila, we have a messy figure, but the beginning of what we want to work with. The first thing that I will do to start to make this look a little bit better is I'm going to change the background. I'm going to format the chart area. I'll actually pull this over here so you can kind of see what happens. And I'll pick a solid fill. And my style is to use this light blue accent color. I'm also going to change the plot area, solid fill, but I'm going to highlight that with this orange accent. Again, these are colors that I've chosen to use because that's, like I said, my style. I'm going to eliminate some lines that we don't need. For example, I'll highlight the axis here, and under Axis Options, I'll go to Line Color and press No Line. I'll do the same thing over by selecting the axis on this side, Line Color, and No Line. Now I'm going to press Close. We've done a number of steps there, and the only lines that are left on this are these grid lines. I'm going to show you a different way to format those grid lines in a moment. Okay, next step I'm going to do is to resize the chart. And to do that, I'll go up to the Chart Tools tab here and hit Format. And over to the right here, you'll see these different sizes. I want to make this 4 inches wide. Sorry, 4 inches wide and 6.5 inches tall. I'm going to resize the chart area just by pulling that over there. Notice that the legend is kind of overwritten. That's not a problem. I'll just pull that up there so it's kind of out of the way. Pull that over to the edge like that. Okay, now a couple of things. I wanted to show you a different way that you can select things. Up in Chart Tools, I'll hit Layout here, and over on the left hand side you can see Plot Area, Format Selection, and Reset to Match Style. I'm going to use this to select the vertical axis, which would have been the same thing as clicking on this before. Now I'm going to change the font of this from the default Calibri here. I'm going to make it Trebuchet, and I want it to be a little bit smaller than that, so I'll pick size 9. And I'm going to do the same thing for the horizontal axis. Make that, instead of Calibri, I'll make it Trebuchet, size 9. And one last thing I'll do here is I'll select the horizontal axis major grid lines. I'll click on that, Format Selection, and I'm going to pick a different line color, sorry, solid line. I'm going to pick a different line color. I'm going to pick that blue that my background is. I think that just looks a little bit nicer to have that kind of consistency in your graph. Now, a couple of additional things. I'll close this for the time being. Notice, obviously, that this is not sorted in any particularly important format. So what I'd like to do is have it sorted so the longest bar is on the bottom, which would be Mexico, and the shortest bar would be at the top. And the length of these bars is this column that I didn't graph, which is the 0 to 50% of median income, because this plus column B plus column C equals column D. So I'm just going to place this over, select a cell in column D, and then I will go to sort from smallest to largest. Oh wait, that's not right. It's actually backwards from what you would think. To get the chart to go from smallest to largest, you have to sort from largest to smallest. And now I'll play around with my legend a little bit. Again, notice that it's the wrong font, so I'll make it Trebuchet, and I'll make it 9 again. And notice there's kind of a curious thing here. Notice that the grid lines are going through the wording on the legend. So I'm going to format the legend. Go over here to Layout, Format Selection, and what I'm going to select is Fill, Solid Fill, but I'm going to make it that plot area color. So it makes it a little bit easier to read the legend without that other information in there. Okay. Let's work on the bars themselves. I'll select that and format data series. What comes up is this series overlap or series gap. The overlap is something you don't want to do. What'll happen is it offsets the bars, so don't do that. But the gap I can reduce, and it'll make the bars somewhat bigger. Sorry for the blotchiness there. I set that bar gap to 85%, and that's what you see here. Just a couple of other things. I am going to change the color of the bars. So again, I'm going to select those data series and format it. But notice that I have the blue bars selected here, so I'm going to go to Fill, and I'm going to pick a color. I'll pick a deep red color. And I'll just click over to the other bars, and I will hit those with a solid fill, but I want to make it different. I'm going to make those black. So that's a much nicer looking chart than what I had before. Now I don't have a title, and I don't have any notes at the bottom. So to add a title, the best way, don't use the chart title thing up here. It doesn't work particularly well. So I'm going to just pull that down and insert a text box up here. And I'm going to say that this is % of families in OECD nations with incomes below 40% and 50% of median income mid-2000s. And I can click off of that. You see the title is there. I'm going to format that a little bit. In order to do that, I have to select that text box. So notice that I have the cursor in there. I'm going to go over to the edge of this, and I'm just going to click on it. Notice how it changed from a dashed line to a solid line. I'll go back up here to the font. I'll make it 12-point trebuchet, and I'll make it bold. And one last thing, since I still have that text box selected, I want to make sure that it's actually 4 wide. So I'll click that up and just could pull this chart area up just a hair too to make good use of my space. And I need to create a spot for my notes. So same thing as before, insert a text box. My source is OECD stat extracts, comma, income distribution poverty, comma, in there, sorry, and that's http stats.oecd.org/index.aspx period. Okay. Again, I want to make sure that this, I want to make sure that this is 4 wide. And I'm going to change the font, but this time I'm going to use a different font. I'm going to use Book Antiqua. Make that size 9 so it's nice and small. Go back here and select the source, make that italic, and I can reduce the size of this box a little bit. 5, nope, see, when I go to 4 it clicks out, so I'll leave it at 5 and move it down as far as I can. And so there I have mostly what I need for this project. Okay, one last nifty little trick, because I want to highlight the OECD total and I want to highlight the United States. And I could do that by changing these bar colors to make them stand out a little bit differently, and that's one possibility. But instead what I want to do is change the font here to red. But there's no way that I can select just that little font. So I'm going to show you a nifty little trick that'll help you become a power user in Excel. So I'm going to go back up to Chart Tools and pick a text box, and I'm just going to draw it in the middle here like this. And I'm going to type in OECD total. Okay? And I'll just click off on that. So I'm selecting the text box as a whole. Now remember, this font over here is Trebuchet size 9. So I'm going to go over here, Trebuchet size 9, and I'm going to change the background color to that blue. So the shape fill, there's that blue. Go back to the home page, and I'm going to change the font color to red, and I'm going to reduce the size of this so it just is large enough for what I need. Okay, I'm going to drag that over there. Maybe a couple of other things here. Go back to home and select middle align and align text right. And then if I move that, if I have that selected, that box, I can hold down the Control button and use the arrow. Whoops. No, I can't. Thought I could. I'll just move this a little bit until it appears to be in the right place. Now I want you to do the same thing for the United States that I just did for OECD total, so the United States will appear in red as well. And finally, in order to copy this into Google Docs, just select the chart itself like this, go up to Copy, Copy as Picture, as shown when printed, hit OK. Now here's the dumb workaround. Just put the cursor over here and hit Paste. So you have your chart and this is a picture of your chart. Now you can simply copy and paste in the normal way, just copy and then paste this figure into your Google document, but after you've changed the United States to red. And that's it. Hope you have fun.